Hello and welcome to Books of Blood. My name is John, and today, finally, I have actually got some book mail to show you. It's been a long time, and of course, as far as book hauls and things like that are concerned, I haven't really been able to do anything like going to the bookstores and stuff. In fact, our local used bookstore here in Bakersfield, Bookhounds, it has closed permanently on its website. Around the Google information or whatever, but my wife did some research and they're on Facebook. I think they have a Facebook group or something like that, or a Facebook page, and they are hopefully going to try to reopen in another location, hopefully once all this COVID stuff blows over, which, whether it will or not, I don't know, and I'm not here to discuss that. I'm here to discuss books. So there you go. So first of all, I've got some books from Amazon, I've got some books from Book Outlet, and I've got some books from a small press, independent publishing company called Corpus Press. Well, they're not small press, they're independent, but still, and I've also got some books that I've already mentioned or talked about on my channel, but I wanted to show them again just out of respect for the authors for sending them to me, or for the publishing company for sending them to me. So first up, I got from Catherine Cavendish, and this was sent to me by Silver Shamrock, and I've done a review on this, and that is The Milan Witch, and it's a 4-star rating for me. Excellent little novella, finished it pretty quick. So that's The Milan Witch. Alright, put the books over here. I just reviewed this one last night. This is by Holly Ray Garcia and Ryan Prentice Garcia. And I'm very grateful that they sent me this. I love this book. It's a Bigfoot book, but it's not your Bigfoot where he goes hiding in the woods and you never see him or anything like that. No, these are vicious, nasty, mean, surly Bigfoot. All right, and this is the Easton Falls Massacre, Bigfoot's Revenge. So thank you guys for sending me that. All right, next up from David Irons. I reviewed his book Wolf Moon, and I loved it, absolutely freaking loved it. I can't wait to read this one. This is Polybius. This is about a haunted arcade or a haunted video game. So yeah, I'm looking. It's got an 80s vibe to it. So yeah, Polybius by David Irons. All right, from Lucas Mangum, I got Mania Revised Edition. Now, Lucas, man, this is about a haunted screenplay. Now, Lucas, he's kind of out there with his writing. He's a little bizarre. If you've read Saint Sadist, you'll know what I mean. This one is a little less so, but it's still there, and I really enjoyed this one. I like Hollywood ghost stories. They're kind of fun. Like haunted movie sets, haunted, I don't know, just stuff like that. Then finally, from the books that I've already received and talked about, I got Nightmare by Chad Nicholas, and it's a 4.5-star rating. This is his debut novel, and if it's any indication, he's got a great career ahead of him, at least in my opinion. All right, so there's those. So coming up, we got from Amazon. I got 2 books from Amazon. Both of these books were recommended to me by Richard over at Are You Into Horror. He's talked about these books a lot, how much he loved them, how much they scared him, how much they had an emotional impact on him. So I thought to myself, well, you know what? I want to read those books. So first up, we got Disturb Not the Dream. And I'm not going to read the whole synopsis. It is a long synopsis, man. It goes from all the way like this, and it goes all the way to the back page and all, but let me see if I'm going to try to do a little bit of it. Mulberry House, the Hamptons, 1938. Okay, the Desmond family retired to wait out the storm, the killer hurricane that destroyed all in its path. Within the wind-racked house, the air is pierced by a harrowing cry and the gleam of a steel blade. Down it comes again and down again. A red river runs. So then like I said, there's a hurricane, and then they come in and find the bodies and things. So that's part of it. And then it goes from 1938 to 1976. This new family moves in. They start experiencing strange stuff, like the little girl keeps screaming in her sleep. A bloodied man hovers over Alice, which is the wife. Let's see. Bert, mysterious dream beauty makes love to Bert, leaving traces discernible at dawn. and the lock cellar door gapes open. And it says on the back here, is a sophisticated, Disturb Not the Dream, is a sophisticated occult thriller filled with violence and horror, incest and rape. It's set in the chic Hampton scene of today, which is back in 1981, as well in decadent days of the past. So yeah, Disturb Not the Dream, love and desire, perversion and brutality, mystery and murder. That sounds like something's going to be an awfully good book. All right, that's, like I said, that's published in 1981. All right, next up from Amazon, my last one from Amazon, and this is by J.P. Willey, and this is published by Hellbound Books, and I'm talking about Blood in the Woods. All right, and like I said, Richard over at Are You Into Horror, man, he said this one made him cry, scared the crap out of him, made him cry and stuff like that, you know. So yeah, I'm thinking I want to read this book. All right. For Jody, growing up in the late 80s and early 90s in the small Louisiana town of Hammond with his best friend Jack was filled with wonderful childhood memories. Time spent playing in the woods, shooting pellet guns, blowing up mailboxes, fighting at school, and upon the dawning of interest in the fair sex, their carefree lives typical of kids with few responsibilities and no worries beyond the next pop quiz or getting to second base. As they grow older together and experience the joys and pains of life, love, family, and friendship, they uncover a grim secret that their hometown is kept, and through little more than an innocent, idle curiosity, Jody and Jack stumble upon something horrific in the woods, and their lives quickly take a most sinister and dangerous turn as they find themselves hunted by an unspeakable evil. And that is Blood in the Woods, J.P. Willey. All right. And that's the ones from Amazon. So next up, I got the ones from Book Outlet. I got 6 here from Book Outlet. And some of these are really small books. And when I say small, I mean small in pages, just small, period. First up, I got a graphic novel, and this is the graphic novel of The King in Yellow by Robert Chambers. Robert W. Chambers. And the artwork is by I.N.J. Colbert. All right. Strange is the night where black stars rise and strange moons circle through the skies. The King in Yellow, a play that brings madness to all who read it, irresistible and insidious. It lures the reader with its innocence and dupes them with its corruption. In a series of interlinked stories, Robert W. Chambers' classic work of weird fiction shows the creeping spread of the play's macabre touch. I.N.J. Colbert's deft and unsettling adaptation breathes new light into Chambers' influential masterpiece, expertly revealing the malice and mayhem that await those unlucky enough to turn the wrong page. But stranger still is Lost Carcosa. And that is The King in Yellow. Okay, next up, I've got, and I said this is one of the example of ones, these are small. I mean, you hold it back, you know, we'll compare it to this book, man. It's just way smaller. But anyway, this is The Monster of Ellenhaven by Jennifer Gilsbracht. And I love that cover. I mean, you got a whole big choice. If you do one of those prompts where somebody says, read a book with white on the cover, black on the cover, red, you got to just read this book right here. You're good. Anyway, it's The Monster of Ellenhaven. Let's see what it's about. The city of Ellenhaven sulks on the edge of the ocean, racked by plague, abandoned by the South, stripped of industry and left to die. But not everything dies so easily. A thing without a name stalks the city, a thing shaped like a man with a dark heart and long, pale fingers yearning to wrap around throats, a monster who cannot die. His frail master sends him out on errands, twisting him with magic, crafting a plan too cruel to name, while the monster's heart grows fonder and colder and more cunning. The sorcerer's work is subtle, changing minds and curdling hearts with barely a trace left behind. But there are signs to read for magic hunters coming up from the capital and the south. These monsters of Ellenhaven will have their revenge on everyone who wronged the city, even if they have to burn the world to do it. And that is The Monster of Ellenhaven. Yeah, and you really, weird. You really cannot tell how small this book actually is, and it's really small. It's a small book, period. You know. All right, so yeah, kind of looking forward to reading this one. That sounds like a good book. Let me turn that around there. Okay, next up, from Laird Hunt, I've got In the House in the Dark of the Woods. Try to get that to where there's not a big glare to it. That's a pretty cool cover. I like the way the hands are wrapped around. Then you got the wolf's head here. That's pretty nice. In this ingenious horror story set in colonial New England, a woman goes missing, or not missing. Perhaps she has fled, abandoned her family, or perhaps she's been kidnapped and set loose to wander in the dense woods of the north. Alone and possibly lost, she meets another woman in the forest. Then everything changes. On a journey that will take her through a wolf-haunted wood, down a deep well, and onto a living ship made of human bones, our heroine is forced to confront her past and may find that the evil she flees has been inside her all along. Eerie and disturbing, In the House in the Dark of the Woods is a novel of psychological horror and suspense, told in Laird Hunt's acclaimed lyrical prose. It is the story of a bewitching, a betrayal, a master huntress and her quarry. It is the story of anger, of oppression, of revenge and redemption. It is the story of a haunting, one that forms the bedrock of American mythology, told in a vivid voice you will never forget. And that is In the House in the Dark of the Woods. It's slipping there a little bit. There, my cover. And there's a little quote at the beginning of it. Once upon a time there was, and there wasn't a woman who went to the woods. It's kind of eerie. All right, next up from Book Outlet, I've got from John Horner Jacobs. This is Two Tales of Cosmic Horror. This is a Lush and Seething Hell. Okay, hold that book up a little bit longer. Get my fingers out of the way. I like that cover. It's a cool cover. Alrighty here. Bringing together his Shirley Jackson Award-nominated novella, The Sea Dreams It Is the Sky, which is available in print for the first time, and an all-new short novel, My Heart-Struck Sorrow, John Horner Jacobs turns his fertile imagination to the evil that breeds within the human soul. A brilliant mix of psychological and supernatural, blending the acute insight of Robert Bolaño and the eerie imagination of H.P. Lovecraft. The Sea Dreams It Is the Sky examines life in a South American dictatorship, centered on the journal of a poet in exile and his failed attempts at translating a maddening text. The story is told by a young woman trying to come to grips with a country that nearly devoured itself. In My Heart-Struck Sorrow, a librarian discovers Depression-era recordings from the Deep South, valuable archives of the rich folk history that survived in the face of an encroaching modernity and an accompanying journal. But there's a reason they've been hidden for so long. The journal may in fact be a ledger of one man's descent into madness, and the records might contain the musical stylings of the devil himself. Breathtaking and haunting, A Lush and Seething Hell is a terrifying and exhilarating journey into darkness, an odyssey into the deepest reaches of ourselves that compels us to confront secrets best left hidden. All right, so that is A Lush and Seething Hell. John Horner Jacobs. All right, next up, and this is next to last for Book Outlet, and this is You Should Have Left by Daniel Kellman. And this is a novel translated from the German by Ross Benjamin. And like I said, this is small. I mean, it's the size of my hand. If you look, see that? That's pretty small. I don't have great big hands, you know? So let's see what we got here. It is fitting that I'm beginning a new notebook up here. New surroundings and new ideas. A new beginning. Fresh air. This passage is from the first entry of a journal kept by the narrator of Daniel Kellman's spellbinding new novel. It is the record of the 7 days that he, his wife, and his 4-year-old daughter are spending in a house they have rented in the mountains of Germany, a house that thwarts the expectations of the narrator's recollection and seems to defy the very laws of physics. He is eager to finish a screenplay for a sequel to the movie that launched his career, but something he cannot explain is undermining his convictions and confidence, a process he is recording in this account of the uncanny events that unfold as he tries to understand what exactly is happening around him and within him. And that is You Should Have Left by Daniel Kellman. And this has been made into a movie with Kevin Bacon, and I can't remember who the female lead is, but I haven't seen it either. I do want to see it, but I want to read the book first. So there you go. All right, finally from Book Outlet, I've got The Invited by Jennifer McMahon. This will be my second Jennifer McMahon book that I'll be reading. I do have two others, I believe. I've got, well, three. I've got The Winter People, which I really enjoyed. And then I've also got Promise Not to Tell and Breathe Not a Word, or Don't Breathe a Word, or something like that. I can't remember what the exact title is. So yeah, The Invited. In a quest for a simpler life, Helen and Nate have abandoned the comforts of suburbia to take up residence on 44 acres of rural land where they will begin the ultimate aspirational do-it-yourself project, building the house of their dreams. When they discover that this beautiful property has a dark and violent past, Helen, a former history teacher, becomes consumed by the local legend of Hattie Breckenridge, a woman who lived and died there a century ago. With her passion for artifacts, Helen finds special materials to incorporate into the house: a beam from an old schoolroom, bricks from a mill, a mantle from a farmhouse, objects that draw her deeper into the story of Hattie and her descendants, 3 generations of Breckenridge women, each of whom died suspiciously. As the building project progresses, the house will become a place of menace and unfinished business. A new home, now haunted, that beckons its owners and their neighbors toward unimaginable danger. And that is The Invited by Jennifer McMahon. All right. And finally, I've got 3 books here from Corpus Press. I reached out to them and I said, hey, I got a channel, and would you be willing to send me some books? And they said, sure, we'll send you some. And they got here pretty quick. Took them about a week, maybe 2 weeks from the time, and with the way the mail is nowadays, to me, that's pretty good. So I'm definitely not going to complain. These are all short story collections, which is actually pretty cool too. First up, we got Bad Apples 3, 7 slices of Halloween horror. Let's see. Now, there's nothing really here on the front or anything. Let's see what the stories are. You got Belle Souffrance by Adam and Evans Light, Chocolate Covered Eyeball by John McNee, October's End by Greg Saunders, The Uncle Taffy's Girl by Gregor Zane, he's the guy that wrote The Hanover Block. I have not read that one. I want to read it. So, yeah, because everybody's talked about this book, and I still haven't got a copy of it. Last Stop by our fellow booktuber, Edward Lauren. All right. Body of Christ by Mark Matthews, and finally Pulp by Jason Parent. And Jason Parent is another one I've heard things about. Next up, what do we got? We got Halloween stuff here. This is appropriate, man. I love this one. Doorbells at Dusk. This is edited by Evans Light. And if you haven't read his Screamscapes, give it a shot, because it is really good. Okay? Good stuff. Halloween has always gone hand in hand with horror. The holiday gives many children their first taste of terror, the discovery and overcoming of fears. For those who find they love a good scare, that first taste can grow into a voracious appetite. That might be why you're holding this book right now. If so, you come to the right place. Here, you'll find the thrills you crave, packed into a collection of stories that is pure Halloween. Carve your pumpkins and turn on the porch light. Halloween frights begin with the sound of doorbells at dusk. And this has stories in it by Josh Mallerman, Evans Light, Gregor Zane, Chad Lutsky, Lisa Lepovetsky, Joshua Viola, Sean Eads, Thomas Vaughn, Jason Parent. Yeah, there's a few more there. Yeah, Doorbells at Dusk. Sounds awesome. And next up, finally, we have In Darkness Delight, Masters of Midnight, edited by Andrew Lennon and Evans Light. All right, let's see what we got here. Midnight strikes like an invocation, clock hands joining in prayer to the darkness. After the 12th chime, there's no escaping the nightmare. Fear reigns supreme. In Darkness, Delight is an anthology of original stories that reveal the many faces of modern horror, shocking and quiet, pulp and literary, cold-hearted and heartfelt, weird tales of spiraling madness alongside full-throttle thrillers. Open these pages and unleash all new terrors that consume from without and within. Midnight is here. It's now time to find In Darkness Delight. And this has got some stories by Josh Mallerman, William Michael, Ryan C. Thomas, Evans Light, Michael Bray, Billy Chismar, Monique Yosswood. That's just to name a few. All right, that's going to do it. That is my book mail, book haul, whatever you want to call it. I am so happy I got to finally do one of these after so dadgum long. And don't look up dadgum in the dictionary. It's a southern term, and my sister used to say it all the time, and every now and then I pick up on it, even though it's been a long time. I haven't seen my sister in a long time. But anyway, that's it. That's my book haul, book mail. I thank you guys for watching. I thank you for your patience, because I know this has been a long video. And I'm going to say, have a great night. Good night.